purpose. So they are all the same thing. Though sometimes the ruling or the judgment may be slightly different. There was an incident that happened during the time of Prophet Muhammad Sallam. On the day they were marching to the Kitabu. So some of the Munafiqun, they were among the soldiers of the Muslims. Our Prophet has informed, he has given glad tidings to the Sahaba that by Allah's permission, the Muslims, they are going to conquer, they are going to defeat the Persian and the Roman Empire. And these are actually great empire, which has been in existence for a very great period of time. So when the Munafiqun, when they had this, it looked very impossible and something that cannot be accomplished by Prophet Muhammad. So they were saying this among themselves, and there are some Muslims that were in their company. There were some Muslims who are actually weak in their faith, but they are not Munafiqun like those who started the talk. So these Munafiqun, they make this jest, and Allah informed His Prophet, Prophet Muhammad about what they have said, that how is that going to be possible that Prophet Muhammad is going to conquer, is going to defeat, is going to take power away from a great empire as Persian Empire and as Roman Empire. And of course they were very great. In fact, there was no time in history when Persian Empire has ever been defeated. The first time they will be defeated was by Prophet Muhammad and his, the Muslims. And also the Roman Empire, they were actually a very great empire. And the experts and their power, it was very massive. So, and this is Muslims and Prophet Muhammad whose mission started just a few years, less than 23 years before they were defeated. And this seems very impossible for the Munafiqun. And they were joking, they were mocking. So there are some other Muslims among them, but their faith was actually weak. Because if their faith was not weak, they cannot doubt what Prophet Muhammad said. That's another important thing. When Allah and His Messenger decide or talk about anything, no matter how that thing seems impossible, no matter how it seems big or great in our sight, we should never doubt it. Doubting it or assuming it is not possible is actually a form of kufr. It means we are doubting the power of Allah. So here they said, how is that going to be possible? Then Allah informed Prophet Muhammad. When Allah informed Prophet Muhammad, Prophet invited them. And when they were invited, they said, Innama nahudu wa nalhabi. Allah said, if you ask them that, did they actually say this? They will actually confirm that they said it, but they will say they were only joking. They were saying it jokingly, they did not mean it. Allah now asked them, Habillahi wa ayatihi wa rasulihi kuntum tastahzi'un. Okay, you are joking, right? Okay, we have heard that you are joking. Who among these three things deserve to be joked with? Is it Allah, His verses, or His miracles, or His prophets? Who deserve to be joked with? Ask them, because they said they were joking. So from here we understand that when it comes to religious matter, when it comes to Islamic issue, you don't joke with it. You don't take it with levity. You don't take it the same manner. And look at our society. Look at where we find ourselves today. Especially in this age of comedy. Some people will go as far as joking, mocking the religion of Allah. Any aspect of religion is what is normal to them. They didn't see it as anything bad to joke or to do comedy with it. And their belief is that they did not mean it. Their belief is that they are not serious about it. Their belief is that they were only joking. And because of that, Allah is not going to hold them responsible. That's their belief. That's their assumption. But here is the verse. Allah said, okay, if truly you are joking, Abillahi wa ayatihi wa rasulihi kuntum tastahzi'un. Who deserve to be joked with among these three things? Is it Allah, His Messenger, or His verses? Allah said, La ta'taziru qad kafartum ba'da imanikum. There's nothing like excuse in this case. Even though you are believers before, but this your single act has made your iman, your belief, your tawhid to be nullified. It has been what? It has been nullified. You are now a kafir. You are now kufar. You are disbelieving Allah. But some of them, like we said, some of them that have weak faith, they were remorseful. They regretted that this has ever happened to them. Then Allah said, for those ones, we may overlook their shortcomings. But not that they have not committed a great sin. Not that they have not violated of Allah. Not that they have not done something that may make them to deserve the punishment of Allah. They have actually done it. What we are saying is Even when you say it jokingly, it's a very great sin. What about somebody that do it intentionally? And when it comes to joking with religion matter, like we have said that some Muslims, even some people who are very serious about religion, sometimes they fall into joke or they crack joke with religion. So Allah doesn't joke, and Allah is far from joking. So anything that is from Allah is holy and is sacred, and it should be treated as such. And in Islam, Quran, His messengers, and anything religion, anything that is symbol of religion. A verse in Surah Al-Hajj, Allah said, وَمَنْ يُعَذِّمْ حُرُمَاتِ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّ ذَلِكَ مِنْ تَقْوَى الْقُلُوبِ. Anybody who honor the sacred matters of Allah, that is a sign that there is a taqwa in his heart. So when Allah says this is sacred, in fact, you don't need to hear from Allah that this is sacred. Anything that comes from Allah is sacred. Allah himself is sacred. Allah is holy. So when Allah says do this, or this is an instruction of Allah, or this is one of the symbols of Allah, you don't joke with it. Allah calls them in the Quranic terminology Sha'airullah. Everything Islam is Sha'air of Allah, is symbols of Allah. The masjid is a what? It's a symbol of Allah. You don't joke in masjid. If you joke in masjid, you are disrespecting Allah. Do you know how great masjid is in the sight of Allah? It is one of the most honorable places on the earth's surface, and one of the worst places on the earth's surface is market, according to the hadith of Prophet Muhammad. Masjid is so important that when you enter, you are not expected or you are not supposed to sit down until you observe 2 units of rakah. And what are you doing? You are showing a sign of respect. There are angels in masjid. There are jinn among the Muslims. If you cannot see them, they are there, remembering, making remembrance of Allah, the name of Allah. But today, we find among the Muslims, there is no any other place for them to talk about comedy they have watched except in the masjid. There is no any other place for them to talk about football club and fans of football except in the masjid. And they think it is very simple to Wallahi, it is not simple. Wallahi, that may be a single reason why our religion has been over without we suspect. So there are many things, there are many times we do something that violates our iman, but we don't suspect, we don't know. Like Allah mentioned about the Munafiqun, Surah Al-Baqarah. Allah said, Allah innahu al-munafiqina humul kadhibun. وإذا قيل لهم آمنوا كما آمن الناس قالوا أنؤمن كما آمن السفهاء ألا إنهم هم السفهاء ولكن لا يعلمون. In Allah said لا يشعرون, they don't suspect. And the reality, the truth is that they don't even fear, they don't even suspect, they don't have that feeling that they are falling to shirk, the kufr. And that is the same case of Muslims who does not see anything bad in taking masjid as a place of joke, a place of play, a place of discussing worldly matters. Allah, it's violated the law of Allah. It follows the purpose of masjid. Masjid is meant for dhikr of Allah. It's meant for salah. It's meant for Quran. It's meant to admonitions, words that are related with that. Anything different from all this, Allah, should be done outside the masjid. Is that the same way we treat masjid today? And we don't see anything wrong? Not only that, even our dresses, they are part of what? Sha'air of Allah. They are part of symbols, signs of Allah that we don't mock. Especially when it comes to women who is using hijab. So we see some people that mock it. In fact, some people wear it as a mock. And some people actually mock it. And some people wear it and violate the sacredness of that cloth. What I'm saying is this. Somebody wear a niqab or hijab and commit atrocity with it. You are mocking it. It's a mock. Because that cloth, it symbolizes something. And what does it symbolize? It symbolizes the law instruction of Allah. Now you are wearing it and still using it to commit sin. It means you are mocking it. When Allah is talking about the hijab in the Quran, especially when it talks in Surah Al-Azab, Allah says, ذَلِكَ أَدْنَا أَنْ يُعْرَفْنَا وَلَا. So this is close to the truth that you will be identified, you will be differentiated from the non-Muslims, from the kuffar, from the slaves. And this is close that you will not be armed, you will not be hurt. What? Hijab. But today we mock it. Either you mock it when you wear other people wear it, or when you wear it, you commit sins or acts that will that will violate the sacredness of that symbol of Allah. And that is why when you are a symbol of Islam, sin you commit is greater than what an ordinary person commits. Because you are a symbol, you are a model, you are somebody other people look at. So your personality, it represents Islam. When people see you, they see Islam. Then the way you talk, the way you act, the way you interact should actually be different. You have to be very careful, because when you do something that contradicts or that go against your what? Your being or your personality, is actually you mocking, or you are belittling, or you are telling people that Islam is not that important. So what you see me doing, that is what Islam says I should do. So these are actually many ways in which people work, in which they mock or they belittle the Islamic sacred act. And like we have said, it's a direct gate, it's a direct door to kufr. There's no doubt about that. Anybody that violates the sacredness, any form of thing that Islam considers sacred, and like we have said, there is no single act in Islam, so far it's an instruction of Allah, that is not sacred, because it's from Allah, and Allah doesn't joke with any of His creation. Though there are some of them that their sanctity is greater than the other. And among the things Allah considers sacred or Allah sanctified, there are some of them that have to do with time, there are some of them that have to do with place, and there are some of them that have to do with personality, and there are some of them that have to do with objects. Among the ones that have to do with time are special times in Islam, like the what? Like the 4 sacred months. Allah said, Inna iddata shuhuri inda Allah isna ashara shahra fi kitabillahi yawma khalaqa as-samawati wal arda minha. There are 4 sacred months among them. So those 4 sacred months, Allah taslimu fi what? Do not do things that will contradict the instruction of Allah. Do not violate the sacredness of those months. So among these 4 months, there are some of them that are even more sacred, like the what? The month of Dhul-Hijjah and the month of Muharram. And the month of Dhul-Hijjah, there are some days in those days that are more sacred, like the first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah. And apart from that, we also have month of Ramadan. It's also another sacred month. Sin you commit in those days. You see, there's another hadith of Prophet that describes the good deed or act you do in those days. As great as the reward of those days are, if you are to commit sin in them, so those sin will also be what we consider as great as sin. It will not be equal to the sin you commit outside those days or those times. And apart from time, there are places that are also considered sacred. Among the places that are considered sacred is the masjid we have just talked about now. All the masjid on our surface, they were house of Allah. You see, one thing that you have to notice that when the name of Allah, sometimes we don't even understand that word Allah itself. Everything that hear that name, they understand the greatness of the name, just the name alone. And anything with which the name has been attributed or attached, it became honored. It became great. It became significant. When they say something, a place is a bed, wow, that word Allah alone, it shows that it's a special place. And as a result, it should be treated what? Specially. Apart from that, the Masjid al-Haram, sacredness of that place is actually different from the sacredness of all other masjids. So, like Allah mentioned, Allah said, وَمَا يُرِيدُ فِيهِ بِإِلْهَادٍ بِظُلْمٍ نُذِقَهُ بِهِ. If you have intention to violate those things that Allah said, you see, in Masjid al-Haram, and when we say Masjid al-Haram, it's not just the Kaaba. It is 13 kilometers from the Masjid al-Haram, from that place where that house is located. 13 kilometers in all directions. Some people say it's 12 kilometers. Whether 12 or 13 kilometers, in all directions, they are the sacred places that you cannot do those things that you have been forbidden to do. You don't lie, you don't steal, you don't insult, you don't mock, you don't backbite. Of course, outside those places you are not supposed to do it. But it is sin. In fact, look at the verse. Allah said anybody who have intention of doing these things in this place, we are going to punish him in a very painful manner. He's going to receive a very painful punishment. So the same thing, another sacred thing is also what? Is Muslims. Muslims are sacred. When they say somebody is a Muslim, that word alone, Islam, Muslim, is a sacred name. And if you, in fact, before we go to sacred name of Muslim, let's look at one hadith of Prophet Muhammad. If somebody is to destroy Kaaba, you can see how sacred the place is. And you have to take the life of one Muslim, just one Muslim, not 10, not 2, just one Muslim. According to the hadith of Prophet, he said, the sin you incur in destroying Kaaba is lighter in the sight of Allah than taking the life of a Muslim. But that does not mean the sin of destroying Kaaba is very simple. That is, if you are to place them on scale, this will outweigh this. This is the same Muslim we look down upon, we backbite, we mock, we ignore. But sometimes some of the problem we incur or we cause to ourselves is because we will treat our Muslim brothers. If you are to violate the law of a servant of Allah, of a Muslim, the punishment, if you are not forgiving on the surface, is that you are going to receive one of the most painful punishments in the Jahannam. And what have you done? You have backbiting, you have mocking, you have gossip about him. There are some of the speech of the predecessors of some of our group tradition. They said one of the reasons why it becomes increasingly difficult for the Muslim of our time not to be able to pronounce Shahada at the point of death is because the way they use their tongue against the Muslims. When last did you hear that somebody is dying and was able to pronounce the Shahada? So if it happens in our society today, it will be a what? It will be a headline in the newspaper. It will be a great news. It will be something that will break the internet. You see what happened today? As if it's a strange thing. And the reverse is the case in those days. When somebody is dying and is unable to pronounce it, the Sahaba will be disturbed. What has he done? What is the matter with him? What was his fault? What sin has he committed? That is their concern. But for us today, the reverse, and we don't even care what is the problem. Where are we? Where is our fault? Why is it that most people that are dying cannot pronounce Shahada? When last did you hear it? We don't even see it as a problem. Wallah is a sign of great problem ahead. If you die, Allah make it easy for you to be able to say it. That means where you are going is going to be easy. But now you are able to say it. It means there are going to be difficulties for you in the future. And one of the areas where we fail in that is the way we use our tongue against the Muslim. And that is when it comes to personality. Apart from the personality that, apart from Muslims, and there are other personalities that are also sacred, are also regarded as symbols of Allah, are the messengers and prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Their own case cannot be compared to the case of ordinary Muslims. So insulting them, mocking them, belittling them, joking with their message, or anything that has to do with them is considered act of kufr. Anything that has to do with message of Allah, if you mock or if you say anything about it, is considered what? Act of kufr. That person has completely gone out of Islam. But when you follow the law of a Muslim, ordinary Muslim, you may not actually go out of Islam, but you are going to receive a very painful punishment. Another one that is similar to it is the right of our scholars, Muslim scholars. We have just talked about the what? Ordinary Muslims, and we have talked about what? The messengers and prophets of Allah. There are some other personalities in Islam that we don't joke with their rights, and those are the what? The scholars. So they are symbols of Islam. They represent Islam. They are ambassador of Islam on the surface. When you belittle them, what you are saying is that people should not take them serious. And when people don't take them serious, since they are representing who? Allah, His book, His messenger, you are telling people that they should not take the word of Allah serious. That's what you are saying. So people that deserve to be respected and to be given proper respect are the scholars. So Allah Himself, He has praised them, He has commended them in a number of places. Allah said, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ. So those people that fear Allah, the real people that fear Allah, who can fear Allah, who have what? Who are scholars, who have knowledge. And not only that, Allah have said that on the day of Qiyamah, not even before that, in this world, in one hadith of Prophet Muhammad, he said, the whole of this planet is not equivalent to the weight of a mosquito. If you are to compare the whole of this planet, the planet Earth, in the sight of Allah, it is not equivalent to the weight of what? Mosquito. If not because of scholars and those who seek knowledge, Allah wouldn't have anything to do with this world. And when Allah said the weight of this planet is not equivalent to the weight of one mosquito in the sight of Allah, this is actually not an exaggeration. If you actually understand the scale of creation of Allah, what Allah has created in nature, this planet, if you are to compare it with the smallest galaxy, it is just like, this is our planet. If you are to compare with the smallest galaxy, you know we have billions of galaxies in the space. And even this galaxy we are talking about, according to the scientists, they call it what? Observable galaxy. Which means there are some of them that are not what? And the ones that are not observable, by default, by law, they are far more than the ones that are observable. One of the law of Allah is that anything you know among the things He created, anything you know in His knowledge, any knowledge He has given you, you should be informed that what you know is far less than what you don't know. If you gain knowledge about anything, whether what Allah has created or whatever, even yourself, what you know about yourself is far less. Look at the level of advancement, progress in science and technology today. Even with that, what science knows about everything is far less than what they don't know. And that is the law of Allah. Now we are talking about the galaxy, that the one that is not observable is far greater than the one. Even the one that we say they are what? They are billions. Among the billions, the smallest among them is called what? The Milky Way. If you are to compare it with our what? Our planet, which is planet Earth, it is just like you are comparing. It's just like you put a plate inside a continent. Do you understand that? It's just like put a plate inside what? When we say continent, we are not talking of a country. And we know many countries make up a what? A continent. Now, we are talking about smallest galaxy, and we are talking about observable and unobservable. Do you even think that the whole of this line will be equivalent to the weight of what? Mosquito. Allah said the only reason why this world is being maintained and is being what? Is being cherished the way it is being cherished is because of the alim wal muta'allim. It's because of the scholars and those who seek knowledge. So Allah Himself, He venerates them and He wants us to give them due respect. Apart from this, like we said, there are also what? Okay. So apart from this, there are also some specific there's also some specific places and time that Allah also make to be sacred, and we also see them as such. So in the day, the time of prayers, they are sacred places. They are sacred time. And also in the night, especially the last third part of the night is also a special time that we should also treat what? Sacred. So and every other thing Allah has told us that is sacred. And also the Quran, the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are all sacred. And anybody that belittle them or take them with levity. Another important one is call to prayer. When a call to prayer is being made, a Muslim is supposed to listen attentively and respond to it according to the teaching of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that will show that you actually respect that act. If you ignore it, means you don't respect it. And that is a sign of weakness or a sign of kufr. May Allah forgive us and protect us from falling into kufr. I've been notified our time is up. Inshallah, we'll stop at this one to continue from there tomorrow. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. We ask Allah Ta'ala to preserve our stars of goodness and reward every one of us abundantly. If there is any question from the audience, we should signify.
You mentioned the 4 sacred months. Can you please list them?
3 of them are together and 1 is out. So Zulqa'dah, Zulhijjah, and Muharram. Then Rajab.
What did I say about watching comedy?
About
Comedy.
comedy. Watching. Comedy is all about joke, it's all about play and making fun. So Islam actually it discourages us, especially the hadith of Prophet Muhammad. He said, anybody that joke, crack a joke, in order to make people to laugh, especially when what you're saying is not true, that is going to receive a very stern punishment. It's very great punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So anything that has to do with comedy, joking, Islam does not actually. But that does not mean one cannot crack joke, you know. And look at how Shaitan has confused us. You see, when you say something is a comedy, it means it's not a serious thing. Or when you say somebody is a play, like football now, they say it's a play or it's a game. A game is just something used to pass time, isn't it? It means it's not a work, it's not something that's serious. But how does it make sense to us that we have turned it to what? Our job, our work. Some people take game, comedy as their daily job. Does it make any sense? That is how Shaitan has deceived us. Actually, anything that has to do with joke, anything you are not serious about, Allah is serious about this world. Allah has created this world in truth and with truth. Anything that we are doing in it has to be based purely on truth. But because of our nature, human being, sometimes we may need to crack some joke, but even though joke must be based on truth. But not to the extent of turning joke into what? Into work. Like comedian. There are some instances Prophet cracked joke. But if you look at his joke, they are actually truth. There was a day Prophet cracked a joke with one old woman. When Prophet saw the old woman, Prophet said, there is no old woman in Jannah. There's no old woman will enter Jannah. And that woman burst into tears. She started to cry. She was crying that since you are alive with all my effort, I'm going to hellfire. But Prophet explained, it was a joke actually. But Prophet explained what he meant. What he meant is that no matter your age in this world, when you die, on the day of Qiyamah, the age of everybody that's going to enter Jannah is going to be the age of Prophet Isa. That is 33 years. So everybody will have this. We are going to have equal age. So which means no old person in Jannah. And that is what it is. That is a joke actually, but it's a fact. So you can actually joke with such kind of thing, but joke should not be too much in our life because it can weaken and make our hearts to deviate from the right path. So we should be more serious than joke. The time we spend on serious things, serious matter, should be more than the time. But sometimes we may need to crack some joke to make everything lively. But comedy or turning comedy into work or football, which job are you doing? I'm a comedian. Can you imagine that? Which work are you doing? I'm a content creator. Which content are you creating? Comedy. Can you imagine that? You can imagine how our society, the decadence in our society, where has decayed beyond imagination. May Allah forgive us and guide us and rectify all our conditions.
I have a question. Thank you for the lecture. It's really a wonderful one. So I've been thinking of how to put this scenario, but I think it's better I just take a question. There is sometimes that we'll be having conversation with each other as brothers, which might lead to arguments, which could be religiously arguments. So sometimes we'll be caught up with saying something to maybe the Holy Prophet, want to Allah, but in our mind, or in the conversation, the context, what we wanted to say isn't mocking or saying something. Maybe it has to be somebody that is there that will be like, hey, no, what you are saying, it's dangerous. This is one that has to call back your attention. And if there is nobody, that is how you just say that and leave. How is the Islamic view
Please, can you see the question again?
Okay. That I've been thinking of how to, because it happened to me, but I cannot actually bring it back. Maybe you are having an argument, or you are just having a simple conversation, and it's a religious type of conversation. Mistakenly, unfortunately, what you wanted to see in your heart is not to mock the religion or the prophet or Allah. So, slightly, fortunately, you said something that could be a mock or a disrespect to Allah or a Rasul or the Sahaba. Maybe somebody there will like call your attention. One, what you said is bad, and you don't know consciously. And sometimes there will not be no one to acknowledge that error that you made by saying those unfortunate words. What is the Islamic point of view on that kind of
Now, so even though what you have asked is about mistakenly utter a word of respect
or
something that would violate the sacredness of that thing. But before I go there, you mentioned something that has to do with argument again. So another important thing we must pay attention to is that Islam in the Quran and also in the Hadith that we should avoid arguments in every manner. In fact, there's one Hadith of the Prophet. He said, anybody that can guarantee him or that avoid argument, even when it's based on truth. You know, sometimes why some people think they have to argue is that they believe they are the what? They are the truth. They are the one that are correct. They are the one. So any prophet said anybody who can avoid it, then he's going to guarantee him a place in Jannah. And that is to tell you how great. And why do Islam say we should avoid argument? Because it's one of the ways that can easily lead to misunderstanding, hatred, loss of mistrust, and many other problems among brothers. So anything that can open door to problems among Muslims, Islam should avoid it. But that does not mean we should close our eyes to the truth, or we should keep quiet. That's not the meaning. The meaning is that you cannot force anybody, since it's not your child and it's not your student. You cannot force your opinion on another person. Okay, this is what Islam said. This is evident from Quran. I don't agree. This is the truth. See it. I don't agree. And so I've said my own. I will leave. I don't need to continue the argument. The meaning is not that you should not say. You have to say, but you should not allow it to what? To fall into argument. Then about somebody mistakenly utter what is not supposed to utter. You see, what you have caused it is this same argument we are talking about. You see, when you argue, or when you talk too much, or when you act in some ways, you are bound to say something that you are not supposed to say. So when argument is avoided in the first place, such kind of thing will surely be avoided. But as human being, to err is human, and to forgive is divine. So we are bound to make mistakes. It can happen to anybody. And we are not masumun. We are not protected from sin like the messenger and prophet of Allah. So we can easily fall. So in that case, especially if somebody feel remorseful when it happens to him. So like Allah said in Surah end of Surah Al-Baqarah, Rabbana la tu'akhizna in nasina aw. So that means we can actually make mistake or forgetfully do something. In that case, that prayer will cover us. And there are also hadiths of Prophet that Allah will not actually hold us responsible. La yu'akhidhukum Allah bil-lagwi fi aymanikum walakin yu'akhidhukum bima. So Allah will not hold you responsible for what you have mistakenly done, what is not from your heart. It's from your tongue, not from your heart. Allah will only hold you responsible for what is from your heart. Though we have said jokingly, you know, joke is also from your heart. The only thing is that you don't want, your intention is not to disrespect, but you actually know you are joking. But this is not somebody who intends to joke or who intends to disrespect. It just says it out of mistake. So there is a guarantee that such a person is going to be forgiven. Then, if such a person realizes or is reminded and he feels remorseful, so he will get reward than the sin will have gotten. Yes, he will get reward in place. You see, one of the beauty of Islam and also the mercy and the grace of Allah is that a sinner, and that is why you don't write anybody up, no matter how sinful, how corrupt somebody is or look. You don't write him up because you don't know what will happen to him in the next seconds. And if somebody who is the most sinful person on the earth of it is to change over a new leaf in the next seconds, all his evil deed will be turned to good deeds. And look at you, that you don't have the same reward as Allah said in Surah Al-Fawzan. Allah said, الذين لا يدعون مع الله إلها آخر ولا يقتلون النفس الذي حرم الله إلا ولا يزنون وما يفعل ذلك يلقى عذابا يضاعف له العذاب يوم القيامة ويقتل فيه إلا من تاب وآمن وعمل عملا فأولئك
يبدل الله سيئاتهم حسنات.
يبدل الله سيئاتهم حسنات. So there's one story, there's one case that somebody related, there's one good servant of Allah that Shaitan used to inhibit from going to the masjid at the right time. So sometimes we make it either to use them or to use more to put it outside the time. So he's actually a good righteous person, but this is act of Shaitan. But one day when he realized his fault, he felt very remorseful and become very, very sad. And out of that, Allah gave him reward of 70,000 of the salah he missed. He didn't pray, but because he feels remorseful and regrets what he has done, then Allah rewarded him. So when Shaitan learned about it, he said, "I'm going to go. I'm not going to stop him from going to prayer again because I wanted to make him to lose reward. Here is any having more reward." So when somebody does something mistakenly or out of fault or forgetfulness, so Allah, the chances that Allah will forgive him is very, very high. So our Allah is very merciful and forgiving. Allah forgive all of us.
In the absence of no more question, inshallah, we stop there for today and continue tomorrow at the same time. We urge all our brothers to mobilize our friends for this program. May Allah reward every one of us abundantly and forgive our shortcomings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.